Hey, everybody, it's Jim Johnson here, the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro with this week's episode of Contractor Radio. And everybody's dealing with this coronavirus, COVID-19, quarantine, stay at home, all these things that are going on. Everything's kind of weird. Everything's trying to figure it out. I think people are starting to kind of settle in a little bit on what's happening in their worlds, but there's still a lot of questions going on. And one of those questions is, especially for contractors, like, how do we get more leads now that we can't do some of the things we did before? And our special guest today is going to help us out with that. His name is Chris Hofstra. He is with a cool new app that's out there called Lead Scout. We're going to talk all about it today, but welcome aboard, Chris. Good to have you.
It's good to be here. Thanks, Jim.
Good to have you as well. I got kind of introduced to you guys not too long ago. Like, you're still pretty new coming out. When was rollout day?
Rollout day was probably, I'd say, March or April of last year. And I don't think we really hit our stride given the seasonality of roofing contractors until October, November.
Okay, cool. So yeah, it would be strange for me not to know who you are within, a few weeks even. Like, people usually will come to me and say, hey, this new thing's out there is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I found out about it, I don't know, probably a month ago from a good friend of mine in the industry, Justin, and he had put it out there and I went, hey, what's that thing? Let me go check it out. And I went, ooh, that's a pretty good idea. But before we get into what it is that you guys do, can you tell me a little bit about why you started and what the goal is?
Yeah. Well, I do want to just say thanks to Justin, your friend Justin, because it was kind of a funny story. He actually signed up and randomly I saw the subscription come through. And normally I don't do this, but I just sent a text to him. I had no idea who he was. And it was through that text that the relationship formed. So I was really grateful for him and for him sharing Lead Scout with you and others. But it really, where we started, Jim, was just on this idea of how can we help contractors connect better with homeowners? And it really comes from the retail side of things primarily. And the idea that contractors drive by homes every day to an appointment, to a job, and they see roofs that are distressed, right? Roofs with ailments, as we call them. And oftentimes they're not doing anything about it, right? It's a lead or a prospect in the rearview mirror. And so it was first, the initial objective was to help guys not forget about those and create a data point at the address level that they can now have their own prospect, their own lead. We want to help contractors own their lead source. If contractors know where all the age 3 tabs, roofs with missing shingles, damaged valleys, all those ailments, if they knew where every single one of those homes were and the address, now they own the lead source. And when we wanted to give them a tool to market to that, and that's where the direct mail comes from, and that's where the digital. So essentially we wanted to say, let's take a really quick, easy, intuitive canvassing app, and let's layer in marketing on top of it. Because you're driving through the neighborhood, they're seeing your truck, tag the house, send them a direct mailer, and be relevant, right? You're different in your own right, but be relevant to the homeowner. Why should they call you, right? And you're going to tell them. I think a lot of contractors, are reactive and for good reason, but we want to help them be proactive and go on the offense and let homeowners know you got an issue and I can help you.
Yeah, that was kind of what tripped my trigger about it. I was like, wow, man, this is a really good idea. There's another app out there that came out quite a few years ago called Company Cam. And I'm sitting here going, this is similar. Like, there's this kind of new cool twist to something that I think is going to be powerful for contractors. So tell us about you a little bit, Chris. Like, what's your background? I'm sure you were a roofer. You've sold all kinds of roofs, or you were in contracting of some kind. So that's the story, right?
No, I did have a roofing contractor business that did $40 million. No, I did not. I actually come from supply chain management, and I got brought into this through 2 of my friends that founded it.
Awesome. So what have you learned about roofing? How long have you been doing it now? About a year, right?
Yeah, about a year. Mm-hmm.
So what have you learned about roofing in the last 12 months?
I mean, not much different than any other industry, in that it's a grind in its own right, and you got to be quick on the trigger early and often. Um, but it's, there's a lot, right? There's a lot of noise out there, and so how can you as the contractor stand out? And I think there's a word that you probably hear a lot: special sauce. No matter what industry you're in, everybody has their special sauce. But there's a lot of sauces. And so I think it's, how do we stand out to the homeowner, and how do we become relevant to the homeowner is the challenge. So I think, as I'm talking to contractors every day, and I have the privilege of sitting front row seat with all you guys, I hear the challenges, and I think, the resounding theme is, how do I be relevant to them? And that's, I think, what we're trying to accomplish here at Lead Scout.
So, there's this whole coronavirus thing going on. There's a little bit of a hubbub out there right now. What are some of the pain points or struggles that you're hearing from contractors right now as because you're still talking to them? You're talking to them on the phone, I assume. Zoom meetings, all that other good fun stuff. It's so funny, like watching all these contractors learn how to use Zoom. I have had my messaging blow up, my text blow up, my phone blow up. I just had a meeting with a customer and I couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. And I'm like, well, did you practice? I'm like, no, not really. Yeah. And so what are some of those struggles that you're hearing contractors dealing with out there as you talk with them?
Yeah, honestly, I think they're trying to figure it out. I mean, they're almost, in a sense, we're in the stage where we're trying to identify what those challenges are and kind of come up with solutions on the fly. I mean, I just heard from one of our customers that the governor, I'm up here in Michigan, no two people in a car banned.
Wow.
I haven't validated that, so I don't hold me. That's not a fact. I gotta look that one up. So you got all these new changing. It's a changing landscape every day. And then you have a storm hit. We just had a storm hit up here in Michigan. And it actually hit in several different pockets across the state, which is very rare if you know Michigan. So it's, the normal rules don't apply. You guys know what to do. When the storm hits, you've got your regimen, you've got your plan, you've got your strategy. If you're talking to Jim, you've got your strategy, you know what you're going to do. But in this environment, what do we do?
Yeah, that's exactly where we're getting back. Like when those storms hit, there's been several over the last about week or so. Chicago got some, Rockford, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan, Indiana. And so there's been these storms, Oklahoma about a week ago. And so it was like these messages blowing up like, well, so what do I do? Do I go knock doors? And I'm like, so what is that area of where you are say you can do? And then what are you going to do to be safe? How are you going to handle it? How are you going to communicate that to people? Like, you got to get it in front of them that this is what we're doing and how it is okay to be involved with us, whether it's a completely no touch situation or you're knocking on a door and you're stepping back. So there's different for everybody that's out there, it seems like. But because there's so many different differences, everybody's caught in this, what do I do? And that's paralysis by analysis, right? When you don't know what to do, then you don't do anything out of fear. And so it comes down to education, comes down to having a plan and putting in a strategy to say, hey, if it's this situation, we're going to do this. If it's this situation, we're going to do that. And having that plan all the way down the line, all the way to hopefully never coming to the worst case scenario, but having a strategy developed for it. So, you get to deal with roofers, and I'm assuming you deal with a bunch of other home services contractors as well, because this comes from a retail background. Do you serve other folks? Because our Contractor Coach Pro, we serve other folks than just roofing contractors. It is probably, 60-70% of our business. But how about you guys? What does that kind of ratio look like?
So you can customize the app to be whatever scouting you want it to be. So that could be siding, windows, doors, painters, driveway, landscape, whatever you want it to be. Now that's a newer development with our app. So I would say we're probably 80+% roofers because we launched it for the roofers. But in terms of, the retail, I guess I was referring more towards the approach to the homeowners in the neighborhoods in terms of, storm restoration versus, hey, spend $15,000 on a new roof because you got an H3 tab.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about Lead Scout? Like, what
Yeah,
is it? Like, I think a lot of people, they hear the name. Like, I heard the name and I went, I got to get some swag. That's like a cool name. Like, I got to get a hat or a shirt or something. Like, I got to rep the brand a little bit
sure.
because it's got kind of a cool name. And when I put the description together for this, I related it to like being a military scout. Like you're going to go get some recon, get the information, and then when you come back, you can actually have a good plan to hopefully be successful with your mission, which sounds a little bit like what you guys do. So, can you tell the
Exactly.
folks that are listening, like, give us maybe the high level breakdown of what it is you guys do?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'll kind of use the current situation, right? So these storms hit in Iowa and Michigan and across the Midwest here. Um, so what do, right? Well, the Lead Scout users that have been using us, that have been doing the recon in the field, they have all the data points right now. So when the storm hits, they launch a marketing campaign on the homes that already are distressed. They know where all the discontinued shingles are. They know where all the H3 tabs are. They have that data at their fingertips. So whether they are a retail roofer or a storm restoration roofer, they're probably both because they're going to take any opportunity they can get. They have that data. They have the recon already. So when there's an opening, right, there's a vulnerability in the front line, right, in the attack, they know where it is already. And so they can attack that both, from print media with direct mail, and now digital. So we offer digital marketing to the specific addresses. We're able to target those IP addresses inside the home.
Oh wow! So that's a little bit new since the last time I talked to you, I
It
think.
is. It
So
is.
this is new news. I'm going to take a step back though, because there's a lot of people listening never even heard of Lead Scout. You kind of heard him say it early on that it's a canvassing type app that we've added marketing to. So if you use other canvassing apps, and I love those guys too, I'm big friends with a lot of those guys. Um, but this is the type of thing where I can go pin houses, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and I could do that if I was door knocking, like if there wasn't this deal that we were doing. I'm going knocking on a door and nobody's home, pin that house. It's missing two shingles on the front of the house, or it's old 3 tab, or it's whatever the situation. It's a T-lock and whatever it may be, that maybe it's some kind of discontinued shingle. And I start putting all those data points in as I'm doing my thing. Now, in this world, like what we're dealing with now, I could see that happening from a car, maybe a Segway or a scooter or something like that if you're
Mm-hmm.
into a
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood. But you're pinning all those houses saying, hey, this is what's happening at this pretty old shingles, wood shake, limbs on the house. Like I'm sure you could put together a whole list of like 20 or 30 different things that could be wrong on a roof. And then if I understand it correctly, I can create a specific mailer or now a digital like reach out, but I can create a specific mailer that is direct mail, goes to them. It's good size, a little bit odd shape, so it sticks out like a sore thumb. And then it can be very engaging because it's about their house. We
Mm-hmm.
noticed your house is missing shingles on the front of the house.
Absolutely.
Like I can put that
Yep.
on there, which
Yep.
everybody else doing bulk mail is like, hey, you got storm damage and free estimate.
Yep.
That's so much more powerful, I think. Like I
Absolutely.
think that just because you're actually identifying their home.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yep.
how do you guys see that? Like yeah, I got the canvassing stuff like I do with some of the others, but I can then pin that one and say, hey, this is what's going on with yours, and which I think is what differentiates you guys so much.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I think from a canvassing standpoint, the other tools in the marketplace have done very well, and they're very robust. And in terms of stacking our canvassing to theirs, there's a lot of things that we don't offer on the canvassing side. But I think what we wanted to focus on is the fundamentals, and that is when I'm driving or segue or knocking a door, I want to take 2 seconds or less to create a data point, and I want to know more than if they're home or not. I want to know why they're going to buy a roof from me. So when I tap that house, my next action is to tap the symptom or the ailment. That's it. That's how we create data points. So in 2 seconds, I can know where the prospect is going to come from. Because ultimately, the homeowner with the old H3 tab or missing shingles, they're going to have to replace that in the next year to 3 years, right? So I'm going to know that before they know that, because they don't know that yet.
And
So
it's not just an address, right? Like it's a homeowner's name. What kind of data do you have available to
good,
you?
good question. So data is limited in nature at this point, but you get that when you send the mail. So as soon as you execute marketing, we scrape or look up homeowner data.
Okay, so I've got this address. Now that I got this address, you're able to pull that homeowner's name and information, all that other good stuff.
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so I get that. So we got these mailers, just send out mailers that are very specific to my
Yep.
ideal client, and I know me, like I would be, and this is one of my little secrets that I kind of keep to myself but I'm not going to be a contractor again. I'm very targeted in what I do. We try to teach that to people, and I don't mean just like the dartboard target. I mean the bullseye. Like I want that thing, and if you can identify that thing and be very specific about it. My example, the one I use, is the gated golf course communities. That's with specialty type shingles. That's my game. That's where I want to play. That's where I want to win. That's what I want to scout. And so I could see using your tool and pinning all those houses behind those gates that I can't get to, and sending them a very specific mailer that says, hey, for every inspection, we give away a case of Pro V1 golf balls. Like, that's golf course community. I like golf balls. Dude's going to do a free inspection. Man, give me some golf balls. And so you could get that specific to it, and it's a message to just them, and they know it's a message to just them. It's not this like big bulk mailer that everybody else got, right?
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Can I add something to that?
Yeah,
So,
go ahead. I'd love to.
See, the other thing is there's no minimums. So in terms of being highly precise and hitting the bullseye, we encourage our contractors to add all of their jobs sold from last year and the year before, because now what you can do is create miniature mail campaigns around those jobs sold, right? And be extremely targeted to those 20 homes, 15, 5, we don't care. Be very targeted and reference that. If they give you permission, if they gave you a 5-star review, to reference them, say, hey, we did that job on 1918 Adams Street. We want to, extend a discount to you, whatever. I'm not the lingo guy on that. We'll rely on you, Jim. But make your message specific to that little area. And that relevancy, the homeowner's not just going to throw that in the trash.
Yeah, we call that social acceptance. Somebody else I know or could know because they're in my neighborhood chose these guys, so they must not be too bad. And they gave a 5-star review. And so that's what most people buy on. You think about how you buy. What's the first thing you do? Whatever it is you're going to buy, what's the first thing you look at?
Referrals.
Reviews, right? You got to look at the reviews. I'm like, hey, I'm going to get on Google. I'm going to go figure out a place to eat. Yelp, maybe. If it's not 4 and about 2 or 3 stars or better, I'm going to keep checking, right? Until I find one that fits kind of that deal. Same thing with contractors. They're going through, they're hopping on Google. They're looking at where your star ranking is. They're checking into those ones that were bad and how bad were they? Like, were they really bad? Or is it just somebody being, a difficult homeowner? And so being able to like tie those two things together with social acceptance, I think would be super powerful. So that's kind of the mailer thing. I think we've covered that pretty good at this point.
Sure.
Yeah. So what's the digital thing? Like, that's new. Like I didn't even know that. I think you held that back on a surprise.
I did. Well, it's beta. So we are in beta testing right at this point. But we're really excited about it because, the technology's there, guys. We're able to identify IP addresses inside a physical address through geofencing. And so as long as we have that data, right, and you as a contractor have those addresses, we can send that same branded experience on the print mailer in digital form. And we can send it if they're on Candy Crush or they're timemagazine.com or wherever they are at. We're going to deliver what are called impressions, right? Impressions to those IP addresses in the home. So we can really double down and triple down on what that message is, whether it's, hey, we're in the area, pardon the noise, because remember, we're going to target those specific areas, or a hail or storm or what have you. So it's just another way to focus our branding and marketing to the people we want to be talking to, the people that need our services. And if we do that, we're going to win.
Yeah, it's so key. There's a part of me that's like Mr. Tinfoil Hat guy. Like, good God, why does everybody have my information? And I made the mistake of like looking for whatever, right? Like I was looking for a golf cart, and every ad from that point forward was about golf carts or golf cart accessories or golf clubs or like any of that kind of stuff. Like they picked up on it, and the geofencing thing. I think a lot of people think of it as a fairly decent size thing, like a neighborhood or a city or a community. They don't think of it by the house. I don't think anybody goes like that, like finite. And so that seems pretty cool to me. Like I'm sure there's some cost to it. We'll get to that point if that's okay with you. I
Yeah.
would like to talk cost because you were able to share that information with me. I went, wow, I think I can justify that if I'm any good. It's going to come down to a few important factors, right? Like
Hmm.
just because I put a direct mail piece in front of somebody that says, "Hey, you're missing two shingles on the front of your house," that's good, but copy and engagement is going to be the key.
Hmm.
Do you help these guys with any of that? Do you have
I
templates that
do.
have proven successful and stuff like that?
Yeah. So when a customer joins and becomes a subscriber, because we have a monthly subscription, we automatically load their quiver with arrows, right? So we look at it like we give you a bow, a really powerful, accurate bow, but you got to have arrows. And so we get you started with that. And so we do, our design team will design some mailers, you can tweak them. But what's cool is you can obviously work with your own marketing company or your friend that knows how to use Adobe and build your own professional, elegant, designs around your brand and upload those into Lead Scout. So you can have a mix of your own. We'll design them for you. So yeah, really the sky's the limit. But certainly we're seeing hundreds of these things every day all across the country in different markets. So we can kind of, you know, work with you around your brand specs, looking at your website, where you're located, to build something that's kind of uniquely you.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I think a lot of people approach marketing in like this kind of shotgun shoot from the hip approach, where it's like, all right, for this piece, this thing, this is what I'm going to write. And then this thing over here on Facebook, this is what I'm going to do. And then this thing over here, this is what I'm going to do. And they all say different things and have different messaging. And so it's not unified. When you don't
Mm-hmm.
have that, you don't have um, this unified message. So it gets kind of lost in the noise. You're just
Mm-hmm.
more noise at that point, where we coach to figure out what your message is going to be. Is your message going to be that you're COVID-19 safe? Is your message going to be, hey, you had a storm and it's something you need to get looked at within the first 60 days? What's that message going to be? And then that message be through all of your channels.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to bet you wouldn't say Lead Scout's the end all and be all of all advertising. You shouldn't do anything else. This is something that I see putting it together with other things,
Mm-hmm.
because once I get the information and you send it, now I've got the name of the person. I can probably figure out a phone number pretty easily. There's lots of data sources for that. I can see following up with people by phone and saying, "Hey, did you get my mailer about the shingles that are missing on the front of your roof?"
So I've
Do
got good
this.
news that we date stamp all the delivery of the mailer, so they got it. You can ask them, but they got it. So from a information continuity standpoint, when these.
Yeah, that's great. Like I do want to know because I don't want to call before they get it. But once
Right.
they do get it, if I was putting it together, mine would be pretty unique, and it would be something where I could call out a color or that there was some kind of design on it or
Mhm.
something like that where when I say it, they know it. And what I'm looking for is, did they hold it? And that's the reason I'm asking that question. I'm asking a question. Did you see my purple flyer? That purple thing we sent you in the mail? And the guy goes, "No, I didn't see it. I know he threw it away." I'm like, threw it away. Oh man, you missed it. I'm sorry you missed that. That was super important. I'm going to go this way. But if he says, "Oh yeah, I saw that and I set it to the side. Thanks for calling," I know I'm writing my copy well. That's what I'm looking for. And it's shocking. Like I see people do direct mail. I see them do like personalized letters. I see them do all kinds of things, but they never follow up with a phone. They never like ask if somebody got it, and they're missing so many opportunities. What we've found is, and this applies to just about any mailer that you do, with the highest success rate we've seen so far is like personalized mailers, put them in an envelope, address, and the whole bit. Cool looking envelope, or maybe it's gold or purple or whatever color you want. And you send it to him and you ask him, did you get the purple envelope? Yeah, I got it. As a matter of fact, I said over on the side, thanks for calling me. That person, the only reason they didn't call you is because when they got the envelope and they read it and they said, hey, that's important, little Johnny's dirty diaper was right there, and they set it down and put in their important paper folder or file on top of the countertop, and they got distracted and they went off and dealt with little Johnny, and then they watched TV, and then they had dinner, and it just got pushed away. And I don't know about you, but I know what I do. I set those important things into that thing, and about once a month I go through and I go, yeah, I missed that one. Nope, didn't do that one. No, that one. Oh, that one I can still do. So that's important. I'm going to try and get it done today. And so if we don't call them and follow up with them, we don't give them that spark to say, hey, oh yeah, I did get that. I do want you to come out. So that would be some advice, like, to the guys listening. Like, if you're going to do this, follow the whole format all the way through, put it as a part of a plan. And then whatever you're doing in that world, like if you're doing direct mail, you want to have a unified message in your social media, your YouTube, whatever it is that your billboards, there's all kinds of marketing out there. Whatever it is that you do is the one that you want to focus on. So this digital thing, I got a couple more questions about now. So you got the IP address, and you're talking about like being on their phones. I noticed that you everything you mentioned, like Candy Crush and all that stuff, that was like being on my phone or my tablet or whatever it was. What about like the TV, like the Google, streaming stuff? Is it going there too because it's on the IP address?
That's part of the beta. Yeah, we're playing around with that a little bit. But what I can tell you that it's on the mobile, it's on the desktop, right? And so what we do is we take your image, your creative, and we put it into 7 different formats. Some of the 7 most common formats that are found on desktop and mobile. And we delivered those 30 impressions over 30 days among those 7 formats to try to achieve the highest impact.
Now you just throw that in with the deal, right? That's the way it works.
Well, I can speak to the price with you here and your listeners. So it's $1 per address for 30 impressions over 30 days. So for those that are familiar with digital spend, and impressions, that's just a little over 3 cents an impression per home.
Yeah. So if you put 30 impressions per each person that you choose, it's $1. Let's say I choose to spend $250 a week. I was kind of thinking about, like, what would I do as a salesperson, not even as like an owner of a company or anything like that, but me just picking it up on my own and saying, if the company wants to do it, great. But if they don't, I'm going to do it anyway. What would I invest in myself marketing wise to maybe not have to knock doors anymore? And so the mailers, they're $1 a piece too, right? Like it's $1 a piece, send one out. So if I knock, I don't know, 50, 60, 70 doors, probably get 50 a day. So 5 days a week, 250. So there's $250. If I compile that the right way, we're going to get some response off of just the mailer. They're going to call us and say, hey, yeah, I want to talk to you, which that's going to be what most people do. But if I compile that with other things, like another $1 to get those 30 impressions.
Or a phone call. And I put all that together into this way to do that, my hit rate is going to be a lot higher. So I would guess out of that 250, and I don't know because I haven't used it, but it's going to be interesting to see when you guys get data back from people. Like if they're sending out 250, how many phone calls are they getting? How many people are actually like saying, yeah, I want to talk to you. But if I can get 10 appointments out of that, I know what my closing ratio is. My closing ratio, if it's a storm situation, you're dead in the water, man. 80, 90%, I'm going to close you. Because that just comes down to being an expert and being educated, proving that you can actually handle their project and be able to handle their questions and paint the picture, put the sizzle on it, like, hey, we're going to be different from everybody else. So if it's a storm situation, I get 10, I close 80%, that's 8. And so that's divide 250 by 8. Now, what is that? It's less than $50 a lead. I'm all good with that. Or less than $50 per acquisition. Like that's super cheap. If I double that up. Here's the cool part about that is the other 240 people got to see who you are.
Oh yeah.
So you didn't maybe sell them a roof today, but they got to see your brand and they got to see your message, and it was delivered to those that needed it.
And you've got that data point that you can go back to, and you can go back to, and you can go back to with the same overall message, but a different version of it each time that you come back.
Yep.
Man, I think it's powerful. If you like, I put a lot of thinking into it after I saw it, and I said, man, well, how could I really max that thing out? Because just the basic idea is really cool, but could you make it even better?
You thinking about getting back into contracting?
Oh man. Actually, it's funny that you asked that question. I don't usually get asked questions. If there was ever a time that I was going to get back into contracting, it would be during this situation, because I think I can crack that nut. I think a lot of people are giving up. I think a lot of people are stepping aside. I get all kinds of phone calls and see a bunch of stuff on Facebook. It's like, I'm shutting my doors for the next 30 days. I don't know what to do. A lot of that stuff. I'm not that guy. I'm the run into the battle guy, not the run from the battle guy. And our guys are having great success. So it seems like we do have this thing kind of figured out a little bit. And I sit there and go, wow, what an opportunity right now. Just, you could really set yourself apart and really shut people out when this is all over. Like, it's the way we operate now. It's the way it's done. And they still don't know, but the homeowner now likes it. You think about the mindset of a homeowner and a buyer today, I think it's really interesting. I'm one of those people that just ends up thinking about this kind of stuff all the time. The whole reason we did this Evolve program was because 2 years ago, I could see you could buy a car, right? You could buy a car online. Like, I was like, I'm not buying a car online. I want to go test drive that thing. But I could certainly buy a roof, because I don't test drive a roof. So we started putting stuff together, and we're like thinking, hey man, this is going to be a thing. People are going to start to buy this type of stuff online. And then you start thinking about the mindset of a homeowner. I'll ask you, Chris, would you rather order something from Amazon or go into Walmart and pick it up?
Order it on Amazon.
That's our mindset. And I would say that's 80% of people today is like, I would rather just order that and have it show up in my house and have to go deal with the people of Walmart, right? And so because of that dynamic and that want, I know that's the way I want to buy things. And so why can't I buy this? The information's there. The tools are there. There's some execution people are lacking, and putting it all together, it feels like the guys that are in our Evolve program are like, whoa, man, there's a whole lot more to this than I thought there was. And it's been cool to watch them go through it and have some success. So in the end here, we'll close it up. Is there anything you want to because we got the price. What's the subscription fee? Because I know it's $1 a piece for either digital or the mailer. What's the subscription part of it?
Yeah. So your single users out there, it's $50 a month.
Okay.
And then if you've got 2, 3, or 300, it's $150 a month. So it's unlimited users for our Team Scout, $150 a month.
Oh, wow. That's a no-brainer.
So it's pretty simple. And then $1 a mailer and $1 a digital, and the digital's 30 impressions. So it's not too complicated.
It doesn't seem all that bad. I can send mailers to the houses I actually want them to go to, not all the people that are renting and all that other stuff, and mobile homes that are in my zip code I mail to and all that other stuff. It seems a little bit like a no-brainer to me. That's why I kind of wanted to get you on and talk about it. And I hope the people that are watching this, listening to it on our podcast, reach out to you. How would they get a hold of you, Chris?
Leadscoutapp.com.
And that is in the chat.
/coach pro or is it /coach?
/coach. Yeah, I think it's just /coach.
Yeah, you'll get a 15% discount and some free credits. So if you want to check it out, go to our website and then /coach.
Perfect. So it's /coach. If you want to check out leadscoutapp.com, they'll give you a discount. That's pretty nice of him. He had mentioned that. I didn't know if that was a thing yet or not. So that's really cool that it is a thing. And we'll see if we can help you guys out. It's one of the advantages of listening to Contractor Radio. You get stuff like this that gets handed out while we're on here. And hopefully it helps you with your strategy, helps you run your business. Any parting words of wisdom there, Chris?
I just say, I like what you said before, just kind of, giving your personal testimony of how you would handle this. I just encourage all you guys to not hang up the boots. Go after it, because the next guy may not have that same approach, and that's going to be an advantage to you. So definitely take advantage of it. Don't back down. Just get in there.
Okay. I got 2 more questions for you because I forgot. One I usually ask at the very beginning, but I was on another one of these just before this, so I was a little out of my rhythm. And normally at the very beginning, I ask whoever I'm interviewing, what's your greatest achievement today? And it can't be getting married, kids, or any of that, no family stuff.
Greatest achievement today.
To date. Like
To date.
Yeah.
Today, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I feel like it's just, what's my win today?
And that's okay too.
You couldn't have prepped me on that before we
No,
started?
I usually will give you that one. I got another one for you that I don't.
So I'm an entrepreneur by heart, by trade. And I sold my first business, actually 2 businesses 2 years ago. And that was my greatest achievement because I started with nothing and I risked everything. And I didn't make any money for a long time. And I hustled really hard and late nights, early mornings. But I was blessed with the ability to have a successful business that was sellable. And I think everybody listening has that ability too. You can sell your business. If you think it's not worth anything, you're wrong. Keep talking to Jim because it's worth something and you can sell it. And so that was, beyond, I have to say, getting married and having 3 kids, and being saved, those have to be mentioned, but I would say selling the business.
Yeah, the wives always get offended if I ask that question and they don't give the qualifier, right? Like, okay, no family and stuff, but so you fit it in there. Good. I really like the save part too, because that's a big part in what we do. Last question. In the end, how do you want Chris Hofstra to be remembered?
Well, I mean, I have to go to the saved thing. I mean, it's Good Friday, guys. And
amen.
If you don't remember me as someone that surrendered his life to Jesus, then I failed.
Wow. That's a good answer. Good answer. A gold star. You got 100 on the test the whole day. Well done. Yeah. It's a big day today. It's Good Friday. I think some of us lose sight on it whenever it's a business and all this coronavirus stuff going on, and not able to go connect maybe with our churches the way we have in the past. But it's a big thing, man. It just is. That's our core values. Our core values are to love, serve, and care, which is really what the Bible is all about. And so we figure if we can do that well, we actually have a little saying that goes with it. If we care enough to willingly serve our clients, they'll know that we love them. And so that's how we approach everything. That's why we do this podcast. There's no sponsorships to this. We don't get paid to do this, any of that kind of stuff. We're just trying to give value out there and help guys get through, maybe get a little better, grow a little bit. And Chris, you've been a big part of that today. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks, Jim.